Okay, so here's my report from yesterday's For Britain branch meeting for Somerset, and it was good. It was worthwhile. I talked yesterday about the clandestine nature of the sort of late emails with the final details of the meeting place. Been a bit like going to a rave back in the day. That was the only similarity. The rest of it wasn't quite as much fun as I remember the raves being. But I had a good time. I enjoyed myself, met some nice people. It's quite nice to network a little bit. Anne-Marie was great. I think every time it's the first time I've ever seen her in person. I've watched many of her videos and her talks, and I'm going to suggest that she probably didn't say anything that I haven't heard her say before. But you know, it's just nice to get a chance to ask questions and see her reacting with people. I have a lot of faith in her. If she was in charge of things, I would have absolutely no doubt that things would change. I did write down a long list of questions that I hoped I might be able to ask some of, and I did get around to asking a few questions. And obviously a lot of other people were asking questions. Well, it was very interactive. She spoke for a little while, and then hands started going up, and then for the remainder of the evening it was just answering questions, which I would say is probably better. You get more insight, and you know, it is actually nice. I was trying to say that, how will we do these things? And I probably didn't get absolute satisfaction to it, because sometimes it's like I don't know until you try what will happen. There was a bit where she was talking about the racism against white people, and I suppose sometimes you can recoil away from that because you think, well, we're not supposed to talk about that because, you know, that doesn't exist, because we're the bad guys, aren't we? It's sort of social conditioning that I've had through my life, always thinking that somehow I was inherently bad. An interesting fact came up from one of the organisers. I won't give his name out on here, but he's in the Facebook group for Britain, and only 14% of the entire global population would be white people, and yet we're not allowed to have like an indigenous area that we can sort of say, well, that's where we're from, at least. You know, it feels like that's not allowed, whereas no one would question you know, whether Oriental people are allowed to be indigenous to an area, or black people to Africa, etc, etc. Anyway, without going into that, because that's not what the evening was about. That was interesting. I got to ask Anne-Marie a question regarding the civil service, because this for me is, a lot of people were talking about Islam. It seems to be a very big issue, and it is with me as well, but I have no doubts that will be dealt with. I have no doubts with it. It's the other things, you know, the sort of other areas where we really are struggling as a country. And I believe that the civil service, and I'll include any organisation that's state funded into that, have been abused and run into the ground by red tape, bureaucracy, and at some stage something has to give, because it just feels like we get poorer, but the cost of living just keeps going up. I asked her about would she feel it's possible, especially someone like the NHS, to just have a rewrite of all their contracts, senior management in particular, not necessarily auxiliary staff and, you know, Indians on the floor. I'm talking about the chiefs here, to hold them accountable for their bad decisions. The decisions that waste lots of money. And it's not just the NHS, it's like, you know, your local council make a decision, they build a road wrong, and they have to dig it all up and do it all over again. And it's just like, oh well, you know, not our money. So, and she wasn't sure on that one. I got the idea that she liked the question, and that maybe that's something she might think about if she was ever in a position of power. Somebody wanted me to ask a question about Paul Weston. Is it Paul Weston or Simon Weston? I can't remember his name now. Well, I've written it down here. But Paul Weston, yeah. I like Paul Weston. He was one from Liberty UK, wasn't he? And he's closed that down, and he's affiliated with For Britain. And I think he's a charismatic man, and I think he would probably be quite good in a prominent position. And so did the person that asked me to ask that question. I couldn't ask the question because he was there. He didn't really input very much. He just observed. Had a little chat with him, but not very long, over grabbing a coffee or something. So I guess he's involved. We'll find out at a later stage how much. I wanted to ask a question as well about this new thing that I heard Sargon talking about, the trolls. Trolling politicians will mean that you are unable to get into politics yourself, because that's a key thing. What they're saying in the meeting is, please, we need candidates. Without candidates, people have no one to vote for. And it's like you ask in the room, anyone prepared to be a candidate? And everyone's like, I'm not really. It's crossed my mind, but I don't know. I think I'd fall apart under questioning. I genuinely do. Like here, I'm quite confident. I can talk to my camera, and there's no one holding me to account on it. And if I get it a little bit wrong, I can always do a refilm it. But you can't do that in a debate, can you? So I have doubts about myself being able to do something like that. But that is going to be an issue that I think for Britain going forwards, until they expand a bit. Who's going to stand for election with it? The concept came up of paper candidates, which I hadn't heard that expression before, but I just made the assumption you just put a name down. They don't have to enter into all the debates or canvassing, leafleting and all that sort of stuff. It's more a case of just there's someone there, and if that town feels strongly enough about For Britain, the party as a whole, and Anne-Marie, they might just vote for that person anyway. I probably would, actually. But the trolls, yeah. So this new rule with if someone's perceived to troll a politician, which I guess could mean criticising them on Twitter, you won't be able to stand for a political party, which seems to be a way of the establishment stopping parties like UKIP or For Britain getting going a bit more, because who hasn't criticised the politician at some stage? Does that include Facebook posts about that person? I mean, that's a law that I don't know. They're trying to get that one through. That needs to stop. Lewisham East, someone who wanted an update on that. It's been passed to another panel for further review, her complaint. When will that come out? But she did say that she will be updating all members via email when she has any more evidence or a final hearing on that complaint, because that's appalling. That really is appalling. The way the police handled that, dish out Section 35s to people going to a pro-Trump rally to stop them from congregating, but people are being outwardly violent to try to stop a democratic process. You don't dish out Section 35s. Anyone would think the police have a slightly biased agenda. Plans to get exposed on the mainstream media. She's waiting for her slot on Fox, because the mainstream media don't like her. Fox would be one. I think she was due to have an interview with them. She said she was all ready for it, and then at the last minute they said, sorry, we haven't got time to do it, or something like that. So they've promised her a slot at some stage. She's just got to keep plugging away. But it may well be the case of alternative media needs to keep going. And in light of what I heard them talking about on UK Column News yesterday, the Express and Daily Mail group, losing lots of money, maybe at some stage the mainstream media might click and go, we're going to go out of business because no one trusts us anymore because we're stuck on an agenda. Maybe. So they might have to change it. They might actually have to change that all by themselves. Such is the power of the free market and capitalism. It may well just iron it out. I hope so. Anyway, one chap in there was very passionate about the education system and the Marxism. He was a teacher himself, and he said he's had to move schools because he's a square peg in a round hole, and it's affected his career. But big worries about that. And if For Britain came in, Anne-Marie pretty much said, well, we just have to look at the curriculum, enforce changes, look at RE. Why on earth is it compulsory for children to visit mosques and things like that? So I believe her definitely, that she would definitely put in some changes to the school curriculum. Enforcing it would be a bit more tricky, but she just said if it comes out that teachers are not teaching it, they get sacked. Excellent. I like the rhetoric. That's what we need. We need a politician that shows her teeth, or his teeth, whatever, and then uses them when it's necessary. You have to come down hard. I brought up whistleblower safety. You know, obviously mentions to John Wedger and Melanie Shaw, Carol Woods. This was one where Anne-Marie sort of shrugged a little bit. You know, you can't just have secrecy. There has to be some trace back to the person making the accusations. It was unclear what to do about that one, and until someone comes up with a very, very good way of enabling whistleblowers to come forward without the fear of their careers and their lives being in danger and everything like that, then we are really going to have a problem. And that is the establishment doing a very good job of stopping whistleblowers, really. That was, yeah, that's it for now. If I think of anything else, I might put it up there later. The video, the meeting, the speeches, everything was videoed, and I'm sure it will be posted, if not today, in the next couple of days. So you'll be able to watch it for yourself. It was really nice. I look forward to going to another one, and I've got a load of leaflets, so I'm going to start leafleting. I suggest any members of For Britain, ask for some leaflets. You know, that's the least you can do, right? You know, it really doesn't take much effort to go around, grab a stack of a couple of hundred leaflets or what have you, and just go around, you know, a local town, an area, and just pop them through letterboxes. You haven't got to engage with anyone. You haven't got to stop someone in the street and do the leafleting. But I will carry a few leaflets in my car, and if it does come up and people are interested, I will give them a For Britain leaflet. And that's it, really. Yeah, let's help For Britain get a foothold here. I think Anne-Marie is a good woman, and I trust in her, definitely. This one's over. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you soon.